Hi there. A short video today. I just wanted to talk about the fact that sometimes we don't stop to take a look at just what we have nowadays with a modern camera. Too often we run off looking for more new features, and really, if you haven't really dug through your manual and if you really haven't dug through the menus of your camera, you probably don't realize just how capable that thing you already have already is. Let's talk extremes here. This right here is a camera that's well over 10 years old. It's not in fact a first generation digital SLR, although it has the same 6 megapixel sensor as that first generation. But it does have some interesting features. It has in-body image stabilization. It has IBIS. It has a system for keeping the sensor clean, which works, well, considering its age, works reasonably well. And overall, it's a fairly competent picture taker. But being a CCD camera, it would really not be suitable for video because its battery drain would be tremendous. So there was no video, there was no live view. You used your viewfinder, you framed your shot, you took your picture. There was no silent shutter. Basically, it was the digitization of film photography. Great camera, got great pictures with it, still very happy with it, still play with it now and then. You've all seen my comments about old 6 megapixel CCD cameras in earlier videos, if you've watched my videos at all. And you know that I do like the pleasant look I get from them. Now let's move forward quite a few generations. This is, of course, not the latest and greatest from Olympus. It is the original EM1. But the OMD EM1, thanks to the fact that, unlike the previous camera I showed you, which was, well, a balance, an amalgam between electronics and mechanical things, this is far more electronic. This is far more of a computer that takes pictures rather than a camera with a computer in it. The result is that this has a tremendous number of features and even had one firmware update in particular, firmware 4, that gave it an entirely new set of capabilities. I am nowhere near exploring all of the possibilities with this camera. And let's face it, you know, people say, well, what about image quality? Do you need a newer camera for better image quality? Blah, blah, blah. Look, if it's more than 12 megapixels and it's not noisy, then that image quality is more than enough for me. This is a 16 megapixel camera in good light. Now, by good light, I mean that I'm not underexposing. If I'm not underexposing, I can get away with ISO 1600 with no appreciable noise. 3200 gets a little risky. Beyond that, of course, it is going to get a little noisy. I tend to shoot silent shutter a lot of the time. The only time I turn off silent shutter is when I have lighting that interferes with it, such as LEDs and fluorescent lighting, or when rolling shutter is going to be a problem, like I'm trying to track something. Other than that, I use it pretty much on silent shutter all the time. The lens I have on it here is a rather pedestrian. It's the first weather seal lens that Olympus produced for this particular series of cameras, the Micro Four Thirds cameras, and it is interesting in that it has a power zoom, and therefore it makes for a dandy video lens, but it is quite slow. It's a 3.5 to 6.3, 12 to 50 millimeters. The previous camera I showed you had a 16 to 45 f4 lens, much better quality lens. However, this works exceptionally well for video. Most of my videos have been shot with this lens. The video you're seeing right now, you may see some pulsing in the background, or you may see some other little anomalies, because now I'm using the 18 to 150 M.Zuiko lens, which is, well, possibly not quite so well suited for video. We'll have to wait and see. Also, some of my videos have been shot with this camera, which in continuous autofocus will make use of its phase detect array. The camera shooting me right now is an EP5. The EP5 does not have a phase array. It simply has contrast detect. The result is that it is more likely to see little fluctuations. I am using face detect, but face detect on the older contrast detect systems is, well, let's just say that it's not up to the standard of so many modern cameras. Now, getting back to that feature set, how many of these features do you actually use? How many of these features do you actually need? Just about everybody has something interesting, something different they want to do with their camera, and there is some feature that allows them to do that. I haven't used it often, but the live time view and the live composite views that allow you to take long exposures while monitoring the exposure on the Olympus has come in handy on a couple of occasions. It's one of the features I really like. I think the silent shutter, though, is the one that really has sold me on the camera. Not only does it make for a very quiet camera, but it also makes for less wear and tear on the camera itself, because only the electronics are being used, other than, of course, stopping down the lens. The result is that shutters are not wearing as quickly and so on. Well, minor point, I'm sure. Anyhow, folks, I just wanted you to take a look at your camera, take a look at what you're using now, ask yourself the simple question, do I know all the features of this camera? Do I know everything this camera can now do for me? And is there something that I've overlooked and has made me want to buy another camera, even though maybe I have all the facility I need right here and right now? Well, as I said, this would be a short video. I just wanted to make sure that everybody is giving some thought to the fact that, again, rather than running out and buying something, make the best of what you have right now first. Again, there are all sorts of new announcements all the time. Firmware upgrades for Canon, new APS-C mirrorless camera for Nikon. It's all good. And all these cameras are good, and all of their results are good. And no, they're not all suited for everybody, but some are better than others. Be careful. If you do have to buy a camera, choose what you need. Well, now I'm rambling. Rambling means it's time for me to go. So if you like this video, give me a like. If you'd like to see more of my videos, then by all means subscribe to my channel. And of course, if you think anybody is going to get anything useful from this particular video or any of my others, by all means share them. Bye for now.